Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No, and if I know what your favorite picks are, that's just kind of too easy for me to ruin your day.
Joe, you look good. The only thing you could do is maybe dye your mustache blonde and wear a Hulkamania bandana. That would be the only thing, I think.
My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am JOEpinionated. Episode 1 of the Desert Island Deathmatch. We're starting it off with our top 20 picks for the artist. Then we're going to have to break them down into one list in the Desert Island Deathmatch. The band this week is Radiohead. Today on the episode, we have two guests, both middle-aged men like myself. First is Kale. Kale, you're what, 35?
36, I believe. What up?
Second, Jesse.
My name's Jesse. I can go with that. 39, Joe, by the way. Under 40 still. So very happy about that. Got a few more months.
The first and last episode of
First and last.
Desert Island Deathmatch, Radiohead. So first off, we're going to be doing our top 20 picks for Radiohead, our Desert Island playlist. You can only bring 20 with you. I don't know if it's on like an MP3 player or like if you're bringing 20 singles or what the fuck you're bringing, but you can only bring 20. It's just a game. At the end, like I said, we'll get into the Desert Island Deathmatch. We're going to start with 20 songs that you put on your Desert Island playlist for Radiohead. Actually, I'm going to go first and just do it. First song I'm putting on my Desert Island playlist is off of the Bends from 1995. 1995, the Bends. I'm going with Nice Dream. And I think it's in parentheses too, right? On the album. Just a melodic, everything you want in a Radiohead song. It's catchy. They're definitely listening to a lot of Beatles and just putting together some really cool chord progressions on every song. I'm a shit musician. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but Nice Dream. I love it for Radiohead. Jesse, give us one for your Desert Island playlist for Radiohead.
First Desert Island playlist song for Radiohead is Videotape from In Rainbows, 2007. This song is really interesting for me because it was the song that I always skipped whenever I started with In Rainbows. Every single time I get the jigsaw, it'd be a skip. So years and years and years later, every time I revisit that song, it just grows and grows and grows. And it's such a weird song. Just like you, I'm not a musician. I don't really understand the complexities, but I know there's a weird thing about the offbeat, and it just kind of gives you this eerie feeling. So it's this incredible song that just grows on you over time. Videotape.
Dope pick.
Yeah.
Fucking Harpoons ready.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks for having me on. My first song on the list I'm going to go with is 2 and 2 is 5 off Hail to the Thief. What year was that? My first time seeing Radiohead at Thunderbird Stadium. And they opened with this. And I remember my dad was with me and he also loved this song when this album came out. So it was kind of just a really cool moment, them opening up with that, him and I looking at each other. And for years afterwards, my dad has always said that moment like made the hairs raise on his back. It's just like one of those songs. It's powerful. It's got everything. So yeah, I'm putting that on my list for sure.
Awesome pick. That was the one, by the way, too, that I swapped at the last second.
Here we go with my next song for my Desert Island playlist, Joe's playlist. You'll be able to vote on these playlists at the end in the comments. Which one would you take with you? Kale's, Jesse's, or myself's, or the Desert Island Deathmatch finale list? We'll see which one ranks highest. Next up, I have Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box off of Amnesiac. I don't know. This is just one that I am always still into. You know, I find that some songs come in and out of my playlist, but this one, I'm glad to take it with me to the desert island. Up next is Jesse.
Number 19 for me, or number 5, I don't know. I guess we'll find out later, is Fake Plastic Trees, The Bends. It's kind of a cliched pick from the Bends, but the thing with the Bends is I like a lot of the songs but I don't love a lot of the songs. And I wanted to make sure I had at least one song from the Bends on here. And what I like the most about this song is one of my favorite artists in the world influenced this song, Jeff Buckley. Thom Yorke and band went to a concert in the 90s. They saw Jeff Buckley. It changed everything for Thom Yorke. He felt more confident with his falsetto. And so when he recorded this song, it was kind of like a come to Jesus moment for the band. So you hear that, in the lyrics, the way that he sings this song. So that's always kind of had that special meaning for me. So Fake Plastic Trees, the Bends.
I'm going to have on my Desert Island mix is going to be Pyramid Song off of Amnesiac. When I first got into Radiohead, it was like Kid A and Amnesiac days, basically. So those two albums were huge for me. For this one, I was in high school. In our video class, we had to do like music videos for a song. We chose this, and like we did a crazy video where we were doing everything backwards. Up at Holland Creek, I fell into the river, and then in the video we had me coming out of the river, kind of, video was turned around. It's going to be on my list.
Next pick I think it's on the B-side of Fake Plastic Trees. The song is How Can You Be Sure? Pretty sure How Can You Be Sure is only available on CD so far. Hopefully there's a big Benz box set that comes out in the future, or maybe it's already out.
Next pick for me is also a B-side. It's a B-side on, I think, Street Spirit Fade Out. So it's Talk Show Host. And what I love about that song is the lyrics, obviously. The one lyric, you want me, well, fucking come and find me. I'll be waiting with a gun and a pack of sandwiches. It's, that song came out in the 90s. I remember it was big for the weird Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet movie that came out. But that song always stuck with me. Just like the confidence to write that kind of lyric and make it sound cool like Thom did is always stuck with me. One of my favorites. Talk Show Host.
I'm going to put on the list, I think it's which one is this? It's True Love Waits, the live in Oslo version, which eventually did come out on another album. But, I like the live version of this one. I always wanted it to be on an album. And then when it did eventually, get put on a Moon-Shaped Pool, I was pretty stoked. Yeah.
How do we handle this, spoiler alert, if we have a different version of the same song?
No, they're the same song. They're the same song, in my opinion. And same with if you get, like, when you get to like Pink Floyd or something like that, like Another Brick in the Wall, all 3 parts are the same song. Shine on You Crazy Diamond, all 9 parts are the same song. Live or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the same song. It makes it through if 2 people have picked the same one. So up next, I'm going to go with, it's got to be on my Desert Island playlist. I'm going Body Snatchers off of In Rainbows. I think about the album coming out, it being free, or you could pay what you wanted, sorry. And I remember, I think I only paid $1. Like, I want to admit that I was just totally slimy about it, but they did really well. I don't know. That's actually what I think of when I think of the album. When I think of the songs, I just think of them playing them live in the beginning. So, like, for me, every song on this album is better live. Personally, I like them played live, and to see them do it is just fucking incredible. Because I can't believe they're doing it.
And I just want to say, before I get into my next one, unlike Joe, I think I spent $20 on that album when it came out. So just in case anybody's listening, I definitely spent $20, not $1 like Joe. So I think we kind of even out a little bit, like average $10. So I picked you up there, Joe. Definitely spent $20 of my own money when I was, poor and in college to buy that. My next pick is from Kid A in the kind of following Body Snatchers, an upbeat song, Idiotech. So that song for me is the song that pumps me up. It's the ultimate like song to run to. I feel like you can run through a wall when you hear that song. It has this like end of the world urgency. We're not scaremongering. This is really happening. And the way that he says the word or sings the word happening that second time, his voice cracks. It's just this urgent chaotic mess. And I've always loved that about Idiotech from Kid A. It's going to wake you up in the desert island after the other songs put you to sleep.
You're building a fucking raft. I'm going for it, Shackleton style, dude. I'm jumping in the fucking lifeboat, heading north. We'll see where that takes me.
I'm going to go back to the origins of when I first started listening to Radiohead. I remember my uncle, Mike. He was the youngest one in my mom's family. He was the cool uncle. Got me into so much of the music that I did when I was younger. And he showed me Creep. And I was 12 years old, and I remember just being blown away by that song. And I think I listened to it every day, like 500 times a day. I couldn't stop listening to it. But at the time when I got into it, the albums that were out were like Kid A had just come out. And so the first album I got into was Kid A. So it was really different because, you have Creep, which is the origin basically of Radiohead. But I was getting into Kid A, playing like Everything in Its Right Place, and my mom questioning if I was like depressed or something. But no, I think it all comes back to Creep. That's where it really got me going. So
fair enough. Did you watch that Patrice O'Neill thing about Creep? I can't get that out of my mind. It's the funniest fucking thing. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kale?
No.
Do you know who Patrice is?
The comedian?
Yeah.
Patrice? Yeah. No, I haven't seen this stuff.
Okay. Well, it's in the. Yeah, I'll send it over to you. It's like a must watch. It's in the comments. It'll be in the comments. They were just recording them without like really kind of setting up and saying let's go, and then Jonny Greenwood added that heavy electric guitar after the fact just because he didn't like the way it sounded, and that's so cool too when you listen to it. I didn't know that, so I've only learned that recently, and I thought that was kind of cool when you're listening to it or whatever, just to see what Jonny had in mind. 5 original members, and they're all still in the band. From 1997, off of OK Computer, I'm going with the song Let Down. Studio magic. The guitars really shine through. This paranoid mentality comes into the song, this menacing thing, and it tears you up.
Joe, speaking of that paranoid mentality, might as well get it out of the way and throw a Paranoid Android on there, because I'm sure it's most likely on all of our lists. It's their mecca, it's their stairway, it's their Bohemian Rhapsody, it's their day in the life, their magnum opus, most complete song. It's kind of like The Godfather, where everybody loves The Godfather, but it's probably not your favorite movie, but you kind of know it's the best. That's kind of what I think of Paranoid Android. So it's on there for me.
I'm going to go right now because on the video in the background there is the next song I'm going to put on. There. The drums in this song, it's just so pounding, I remember seeing them live, and that's it for this song. There. Jonny is just pounding on the drums. He's not even playing guitar or anything. And the music video as well, just it's such a weird, eerie kind of feeling that it gives me as Tom's like creeping through the woods and, going into the cabin, I think it is. It's just, for me, this is a staple of Radiohead. Especially for this album. There were so many great songs off of Hail to the Thief, and for me this is just one of the stronger ones.
I love that album, but I don't even think that album makes my top 4 out of all their albums. I love that album though, but I think there's 4 better albums than that.
This one makes the Desert Island playlist, no question. One of the greatest songs ever written, Paranoid Android. The song is eye-opening. It's not just good, it taught me a lot about music and just made me open to listening to new shit. Honestly, if without this song, I just feel like I would have not gotten to that point till a much later date. This song changed things for me. Plus, it's like having 4 songs snipped together. This thing's going to be great on my desert island. We're going to be paranoid as fuck.
I'm also going to go with
Paranoid. Up, so way to ruin Christmas, Kale.
My next Desert Island playlist song is from In Rainbows. And it's funny, Joe, you mentioned it earlier about how the song is so much better live. If you've seen the From the Basement recording, this song really is the standout, I think. It's nude, and it is this incredibly beautiful melodic song. When I don't want to give away my hand here, but when you listen to that song, almost even compared to any other Radiohead song, it's got to be the most purely beautiful melodic song that they have. I also just found out recently at the beginning of the song is actually the end in reverse, which is this crazy thing. You watch one of those videos, very Beatles-esque in that way, but it literally is looped backwards, the same thing. Incredible song, great lyrics. Don't get any big ideas. They're not going to happen. Or you go to hell for what your dirty mind is thinking. And I credit Joe for this. I've always been a pretty big Radiohead fan, but when you did your list 6 months ago, I've gone back and really dug a lot deeper than I originally did. And so this is a song that I kind of rediscovered and has really made an impression on me. Nude from In Rainbows.
Have you ever listened for the mouse click at the beginning of the song? If you listen really closely, it sounds like they left a piece in there, like when they recorded or something, like a little mouse click. You should listen to it and see if you can hear it.
All these playlists will be in the comments as well. You'll be able to go in and listen to them. Heaven forbid you're stuck on one of these assholes islands, but I mean, you're going to want to check out my playlist. It'll be in there as well.
For my next song, I am going to go with the one I tried to jump the gun on and go with Paranoid Android, following in your guys' earlier picks. For me, it is Radiohead's Bohemian Rhapsody. It's got everything. It's got the fast, the slow, the beautiful. For me, this song just hits home on so many levels. And as we were talking before, I totally remember, when it says rain down, and at Thunderbird Stadium, I think it was, 2008, I believe. And just as the rain was coming down on us, we were just all like in this kind of like almost a religious moment for us. It was fucking crazy.
Thanks again, Cale. I told you earlier that the biggest regret in my life was missing that concert, and I've never been able to see them live. So you reliving it and having this spiritual religious moment makes me feel even better about missing the greatest concert that Radiohead's ever done in Vancouver. But no worries. I'm really happy that you got to experience that. It's great.
Yeah, I've heard that fucking story so many times. It drives me insane. Every time I hear it, same thing. Yeah, supposed to be there.
The moral of the story is I couldn't afford it at the time. Kids, if you're listening to it, if you can't afford something, just do it. It doesn't matter, Spend the money you don't have, because you'll regret it 15 years later.
It's already been picked a couple times. It's making the list anyways. It's definitely on my playlist. 2 + 2 = 5 off of Hail to the Thief. When I listened to this album for the first time, I listened to the whole thing. I was at my house. I was cleaning the house, and it stopped me in my tracks to the point where I was just staring at the carpet and listening to this album, just so locked in. And anyways, this is the opening track to the album. It's a huge rocker, fast song, big progression. 2 + 2 = 5 is, for me, is more my pump up song over Idiotech. I just love this song.
Following suit with Hail to the Thief, 2 + 2 = 5 is one I just replaced last minute for this song, which was already been said as well too, and that's There. It's my only song from Hail to the Thief. Sorry, Cale. And I love that album too. It's a great album, but to me, it's very similar to the Bends in the sense that it's a very good album throughout, but the standouts aren't as prevalent as the other songs. But that one to me too there's just like I kept going back to it. That's why I was saying I needed to replace it, because it's one that gets stuck in your head a lot, just because you feel it doesn't mean it's there. That there's a siren singing you to ship. Beautiful lyrics, great song. There, Hail to the Thief. One
of my favorite Radiohead songs. I actually walked down the aisle with my wife to this song, Let Down, off of OK Computer. I think if there was a perfect song, this would probably be it. The fact that my wife and I both love this song is very special as well. We've seen Radiohead together a bunch of times, and something about this song is just, to me, it's perfect. So it's definitely making my list.
And now you've guilted us, and we can't harpoon that song at all, knowing that you walked down the aisle with your wife. So,
Yeah.
thank you for that. That's a nice way to save one of your songs for later.
I'm so ruthless that the thought of making fun of the song still came up just after you said that. Next up on my Desert Island playlist, I am bringing in a fucking monster song. It has to come. Bringing Karma Police off of OK Computer.
So many great moments. For a minute there, I lost myself. Yeah, it's great. This song, obviously, I started out loving the video more than the song, and the song really grew on me over time. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this. PTA directed it. Daydreaming from A Moon-Shaped Pool. Every time I watch that video, it just makes me feel uneasy. It makes me feel sad. Like you're talking earlier, Kale, about depressing. That is it's mostly depressing, this song, but it's also kind of like, maybe at the end it was all worth it. I don't know how to explain how I feel about this song. It's this opening doors, not feeling answers. Are you slowly dying? Are you recapping your life? Are these your last few minutes? And you're trying to remember everything that you can at that last minute, all that you loved. And as soon as you snore and you take your last few breaths and you fade off, is that the end of your existence? Was it all worth it? All these kind of feelings kind of come out when I hear that song. It's this beautiful, sad, heartbreaking, hopeful song. You kind of have that like, oh, it's their newest album. It could never be the best, right? But like it is. It's one of the best. It's arguably up there. It's so much stronger than I think people give credit for.
Next one on my list is going to be Everything in Its Right Place off Kid A. I mean, I think of so many moments in my life where it would be a perfect soundtrack. I think it's on the Vanilla Sky soundtrack. Is that right? He wakes up. I think his alarm is this song or something, or it's when he's waking up. This song comes on, I think.
I remember him running through Times Square while it was playing, right?
Yeah, I think for me, just the significance of this album and this being the first song on that album, like just how Radiohead changed music with this album, and this is like the first track on it. I think it sets the scene for so much that came afterwards. So for me, it's like an amazing song, but also historically just a huge song for music.
Next up on my Desert Island playlist, the greatest playlist on my Desert Island, I'm going off of 1995's The Bends again. Why? I just like the fucking songs they were writing at that time. And Radiohead really has this sort of like career progression where like The Bends for me feels like Rubber Soul in a sense, like it's just kind of, it's almost there. And there's so many signs, but melodically, Rubber Soul is just as good as the later fucking albums. And so I'm going with My Iron Lung.
I want to get this one out of the way as well, too. The one song from The King of Limbs, my next pick, Desert Island pick, is Lotus Flower. Maybe you guys have a different song. You all mentioned one song, but for me, that was the one that always kind of stuck out. I believe it was the single from that album too, but I do like it though too. There is this kind of like fun, groovy feel about it. There's an empty space inside my heart where the root takes shape, and now I set you free. It is a good song too. Like and to the point earlier, it's not a bad album. It's just nowhere near as good as the other albums.
Can't wait to harpoon the shit out of fucking Lotus Flower.
Fifth track off of Amnesiac, I Might Be Wrong. I think this is probably my favorite track off this album. I think just because it stands in the middle, like the beginning has a certain feel to it, and then you get into the middle, and I feel like I Might Be Wrong is really the heart of the album. It's with the bass, it's just a heavy bass line when it comes in, and just I think the way that his voice is kind of like distorted or a little, falsetto, it's just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, my next pick comes off of Kid A as well. It is also the first song on Kid A, and it's also been said by Kale eloquently. He brought up the Vanilla Sky, which I also think about. I think about my buddy Jordan Venn. Because playing this song in my old Daytona, this is how we I don't know, just kind of linked up on the fact that we both loved Radiohead and we both loved Kid A.
My next song hasn't been said yet. It's from Kid A. It's the opening track. It's Everything in Its Right Place. If you guys have heard of that song, it's a really good song. It's a strong opener, really sets the tone for the rest of the album, sets the bar high. No, you're both right. It is an amazing song. It's absolutely on my list. It's one of those few songs where lyrically Radiohead can get away with literally just repeating the same word over and over again. They do that a lot in a lot of their songs, and just because of everything else going in that and going on in that song, you know, it's just so, you know, affecting. I think it's another one where, like, talk show host, you know, with a gun and a pack of sandwiches, one of the main lyrics in that is "Yesterday I woke up sucking a lemon," and just repeated over and over again. And you're just like, oh, this is so good. Trying to think of any other band, maybe outside of like Robert Plant singing that, you know, any other band singing those lyrics, like they couldn't pull it off. Only Radiohead could do that. Joe, that was a throwback to the Lemon song by Led Zeppelin.
Well, I can't wait to listen to whatever the fuck Jesse was talking about there later on when I'm editing this.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin and Jeff Buckley so far.
Cigaros.
I'm intrigued. I fell asleep at Sugar Ross.
Sugar Ross.
Kayla, you're also a big fan, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I remember at A&B Sound when that came out, and they listed it as Thom Yorke's favorite band.
Wow.
On the sampling station. Yeah. And so I was like huge into Radiohead, like as of a couple of years. I was like, oh, I have to listen to this. It's Thom Yorke's favorite band. And another one where it was like, I don't know, I was just a kid listening to that. And I showed my friends and they were like, what the hell is this? And I just grew to love it. Like, I mean, they're one of my favorites as well. Yeah.
Your kids are going to love this. You know, it's one of those. Yeah. But no, I feel the same way. That's my favorite band. I've seen them 4 times all around the world as well, too. Yeah. Joe, sorry, this has become the Desert Island Death Match for Cigar Rose. Joe literally is making us do these movie lists every year, and one of my top movies, I can't remember, I think it's 2006, was Haima, the concert film they did going around Iceland. So look forward to you adding that to the list and fucking up everybody's percentages.
I want my fans out there to remind me not to invite Jesse to the 2006 Raddies.
My next song that's coming with me is off Amnesiac, You and Whose Army. There's just something so powerful about this song, how it builds, but it's such a quiet sort of song. And, you know, he's asking questions like, you know, you and whose army, you and your cronies. It feels like almost political sometimes. I love how Radiohead like skirts the surface of political. Like, they're not a political band, but, you know, you can hear their views in a lot of their music, and I think it's great for that.
Next up, I'm going with Radiohead song from Amnesiac. I'm going with I Might Be Wrong.
I'm going to do my next OK Computer song. It's exit music for a film. You know what's weird too is, like, you were talking about this earlier, Kale, is OK Computer was obviously the first album I remember. High school, it came out right at the beginning of high school for me too. It was, or I think around that time. And so, like, that was kind of, I didn't know the alt rock version from the band. I kind of started with that. And so it wasn't as, you know, as experimental as they got, but there was something about that song that always, I was in that perfect, like, wanting to feel depressed and sad mood all the time. Cause that is a dark, you know, song, you know, we hope that you choke, like, just everything about it at the end of that song is just so dark and affecting, but it's just one of their best songs.
Also off OK Computer, I'm going to go with No Surprises. I don't know. It's such a beautiful song, you know. I feel like it's a lullaby, you know, for me in so many ways. It's just, I don't know how you explain it, but there's something about it. The lyrics as well. I think off this album, OK Computer was such a like, I don't know, kind of like a nihilistic album. It was very, like it's like coming to terms with technology and just it's a transition to this modern world. And honestly, they do such a good job of kind of understanding history. And I don't know, I think it's written into their albums. It's like a soundtrack for Western history or something. You could just put it to Radiohead albums. Obviously, the music video is pretty incredible as well, with Tom, in a old scuba suit and the water's filling up, and it's just like, him to go through that, looked really difficult, and for the video, he did it.
I'll take a quiet life, a handshake of carbon monoxide. Like there's really, dark lyrics there.
My next pick on my Desert Island playlist is which one did you just do, Cal?
No Surprises.
No Surprises is dope.
I think Joe just confirmed he is not listening to a word anybody's saying. I'll figure it out in the edit.
Yeah.
It's got a lot to do there.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
N-O space
Yeah.
S-U-R-P.
Yeah.
That was part of the process, yes. Next up on my list, I'm going with 2008's In Rainbows. I'm going with sort of one of the popular ones, sort of, I guess, my idiotech. I'm going with 15 Step. And my favorite performance of it that I saw was also live. Like I said, anything off of In Rainbows, I like live first and foremost. But my favorite performance was that one that they did. I think it was at the Grammys or some big award show. And they came out with a bunch of drummers, like a drum line. And I'm not afraid to like a popular song. They're popular for a reason. But yeah, 15 Step for me just sounds so cool. And it's the opener for In Rainbows as well. Same thing. These guys, the openers are fucking awesome on every single album. 15 Step.
Next one for me is from Kid A. It's Morning Bell. They ended up remaking it kind of for Amnesiac. I think the Kid A version is much better. It was one of the Kid A's. I love that album, right? But it was one of the songs that came to me later from Kid A. I think it's really the part that brought me in was just the Release Me part, the way he vocally sings that. Like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. I remember I was driving one day and the song came on. I was like, this isn't familiar, and then it just kind of hit me that in the way he sings Release Me.
You can probably tell from my list, it's Kid A heavy. And yeah, this song Optimistic, it's, Kid A was the first album I really got into. And I think this was, if there was a single, I think this was the single off it, I believe. The first song that was released. So
it was for sure.
You can try the best you can. The best you can is good enough. I don't know. The lyrics in this are great. I think they did a good job of choosing that for the single because it's the most accessible on that album for sure.
Yeah, I remember that was the lead single because that was the song that I heard and they played it on the radio. I was living in Calgary. That album came out, I believe, in September or October of 2000. And yeah, I remember it had snowed already in Calgary. So it might have been October, but there was just a tiny skiff of snow. And I'm pretty sure it was the first skiff of snow of that year for the winter. And the rock station or whatever, the station we're listening to, they played this song. And I remember like pulling into like the mall parking lot and like sitting in the car and listening to it. And then they finished the song. And then it was people calling in just play it again, play it again. That's all it was. And they played it again by the time I got home from the route or whatever, I forget what we were doing. But I just remember hearing it twice going out into town or whatever and just being hooked. And couldn't wait. I showed up at the mall first day to buy the album based off of that listen to Optimistic. Off of OK Computer, I'm going with the opening track. I think it was meant to be the original single. The song is Airbag. For this song, for me anyways, it's just a super loud guitar twang. Like the sound is just so big and so right. It's just perfect. And so yeah, Airbag is the next one on my Desert Island playlist.
I'll keep this one quick. Kale just said it. It's off of Kid A for me. The next one for me is Optimistic.
Can we have a break? Quick break?
Yeah, go for it. You should probably try and take the breaks when it's not your fucking turn, but yeah, go for it.
It's not like Joe's listening anyway, so just go ahead and piss off. Doesn't matter what he says, You'll see it at the end.
My next one off Kid A, another one for me, How to Disappear Completely.
All right, next pick on my Desert Island playlist is off of 2003's Hail to the Thief. I'm going with Go to Sleep.
I'll just be quick with the next one too. I feel like Kale, his list is very similar to mine. I have, and it's not in Joe's top 50, which probably means it's really good, is How to Disappear Completely, Kid A.
I'm going to go for my next song is Morning Bell off Kid A. Jesse, you had this one on your list earlier, and I kind of talked about how I like the end of it there. But yeah, again, such a driving song. The drums and the time signature in it.
Shit's in beta mode, by the way. Desert Island Deathmatch. Play it with all your friends. I'm going with this ditty from 2011. One of the most underrated Radiohead albums, King of Limbs. I'm going with by far the best song on King of Limbs.
Lotus Flower.
And it's not Lotus Flower. It's Little by Little. Just the way the drums break in at the start, and it just kind of falls into your lap, this song, and it's him just kind of mesmerizing, singing in your ear. And Little by Little by Thom Yorke is like, devil and angel on your shoulder when you're listening to this song. Is so mesmerizing. It really works. And some of the songs on this album, like we discussed earlier, really do work. It's just that the album as a whole is just such an anomaly for Radiohead. It's more like almost even Pablo Honey, where there's really only like one or two good songs on it, in my opinion, and the rest just doesn't come together.
Next song for me is another song from In Rainbows. I'm pretty In Rainbows heavy on this one. It is Reckoner, because we separate like ripples on a blank shore.
Jesse, another one that I share with you, I'm going to go with is Exit Music off of OK Computer. I feel like this is it's such a dark song. It's like you're like waking up into a nightmare or something. There's something so crazy about it. It's very slow at first, but then it builds and just kind of crescendos with Tom kind of hollering out at the end there. And it's just, yeah, I don't know what it is about this. I think on the album itself, it's kind of the darkest song. And so I like it. It's like the black sheep of the album, maybe you would say. But yeah, Exit Music.
Moonshaped Pool. The song is Daydreaming. And honestly, for the same reason, it was Paul Thomas Anderson. Jesse and I have a huge love for Paul Thomas Anderson. We got into it.
I do too. Yeah.
We got into it kind of around the same time. After I'd done a list on the channel, JOEpinionated list, that, yeah, I'd missed this song. And he kind of mentioned a few other songs too. And I was thinking about it. And I was like, shit, I totally fucking forgot about that. Same with that Romeo and Juliet song from earlier too. It's kind of another one where I probably would have been listening to it a lot more the last few months had we had talked about that one at the time.
Keeping up a Moonshaped Pool for my next one. It was mentioned earlier, a different version of this was mentioned, but I'm going to go with the one off of Moonshaped Pool, and that's True Love Waits. I think I've realized through talking all this out loud that I am a sucker for torture because I like all their saddest songs. This is an incredibly sad song. I'm not living, I'm just killing time. I'll drown my beliefs to have your babies. True Love Waits and Haunted Attics. It's this another somber, beautiful, melodic, soul-crushing song by Radiohead.
Okay, my next song, I'm surprised it hasn't been on anybody's list yet, but I'm going with High and Dry. I think this is just one of the classic Radiohead songs. It's just a perfect song, I think, for this album. His falsetto's on full display, his incredible voice. And I love singing this song. This is one I would sing at karaoke for sure. So there's that. I've probably sang it 100 times. But yeah, high and dry.
Yeah. So my next pick comes off of Radiohead, The Bends from 1995 again. For my Desert Island list, I'm going with the song The Bends. For Desert Island music, for some reason, I love the complexity of later songs, but I also want to just have some simple rockers on there too. And that's what this song to me is. It's like a simple rocker from Radiohead, but they do it well. I'm going with The Bends.
One of the happiest songs, I think, one of the most upbeat, positive songs from Radiohead. It's still not even that, but it makes you feel good whenever you listen to it because it has this incredible crescendo. It is Weird Fishes, Our Peggy. A fantastic song. It'd be crazy not to follow her to lead your eyes. They turn me. Everybody leaves when they get a chance, and this is my chance. From the drumsticks hitting to the very beginning to the actual drums leading into the guitar. It is this beautiful, slow, progressing song. I saw a video on YouTube recently where it was this young musician, and I guess he has a channel where he shows his dad, who's also a musician, songs, and he plays it for the first time, and he lets his dad kind of experience it, and you kind of see that reaction and the bonding between them. It's this incredible video that his dad is just reacting in real time and just kind of feeling, the positivity of the song and very affected by it. It's a really cool video. Maybe link that below as well too. I'll send you the link for that. But that kind of made me appreciate the song even more. And it's another one of those songs that just continues to grow. It could end up being my favorite at some point. I feel that strongly about that song.
With my next song, I think this is another one Jesse and I share, Fake Plastic Trees. Off of The Bends, this has got to be, one of the best songs they've written. I think on so many levels, the lyrics, just the building in the song. And again, this is one I love singing myself. If I go to karaoke, I'm singing this song. Yeah, it's just great. She lives with a broken man, a cracked polystyrene man. Yeah, hits on so many levels. So yeah, Fake Plastic Trees is on my Desert Island list.
Wow, Fake Plastic Trees at karaoke? That's fucking that's daunting.
Ballsy too. Super high. He used to do surgery for girls in the 80s, but gravity always wins. Like cuts and resonates, 30 years later now, almost 30 years later. I can't help the feeling I could blow through the ceiling if I just turn and run. It's a great, great song.
Next on my Desert Island playlist, the best playlist in the history of playlists ever, is Electioneering. And I just love the way the song sounds as well. The same as Airbag. It's a heavy-hitting rock track off of OK Computer.
Nothing else more on Electioneering?
It's a great song. Fuck it.
Next song for me, it's already been said by Kale. Surprise, surprise. I think we're up to 10 now. It's my only song, surprisingly, from Amnesiac. I've argued with Joe about this before. He thinks Amnesiac is basically the same as Kid A. I remember you saying that before, and that could be further from the truth. I like Amnesiac, but it's almost like if that's true, then they put all the best stuff on Kid A and they put the next best stuff on Amnesiac. But the best track from Amnesiac for me is a Pyramid Song. I love Pyramid Song. Nothing else more to say from it that Kale didn't already mention.
It depends on the context, by the way, for that Amnesiac conversation, because it depends on whether I'm trying to get you to like it or not. Like Amnesiac alone.
I think you were just trying to sell that album to me, and you were like, "Yeah, it's the same. It's also good."
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Physically sell it to me.
I'm kind of
physically.
That is actually true too. This is it right here. Actually, this is actually Jesse's.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I sold that to him, and I was trying to get him to get this, but I actually sold this to another guy. And sorry, but Dave, I'll fucking get it to you soon.
But it's also good. It's just not as good as Get A. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, it's really good, Dave. Fuck yeah. Really.
This one was already said, I believe, but this is a real thumper on Kid A, Idiotech. I feel like if I was to have one song to go into a club with and just dance over and over again, it would be this one. I just kind of feel like when I hear this song, I just kind of go nuts in my head as well. I don't know what it is. It's just a huge song. And yeah, I think with this album in general, the movement to like electronic music was so big. And I feel like this song really encapsulated that. And kind of it was that pivot moment where, this became more introduced into rock or whatever. So again, a historical like pivot point, I think, for music with this song even.
So known fact, I actually DJ'd playing this song one time.
Oh.
When put on the spot to be a DJ once. Anyways, that's a long story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a 2 or 3 beers story, but I did play it and it actually went over really well. So, side note, I didn't have a lot of CDs. Okay. I'm up next and I'm going off of OK Computer. This track is Lucky. And this one can be sort of self-serving if you're in the wrong mood. Just love the way his voice changed from hopeless to desperate. And there's a difference. I always think of actually the Wizard of Oz and the whole tornado scene and how that matches up to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I know it wasn't on purpose or whatever, but this song to me sounds like a storm starting and just the absolute horror. And then at the end, Dorothy in the bed.
Good pick. It's going to be a glorious day. Second to last pick for me, another In Rainbow song, All I Need. And what's weird? Whenever I think of, when I think of that song, I'm always like, I don't know if I really like that song. And then I play it and I'm like, no, I love that song. It's one of those songs where I feel like maybe it's been overplayed or something like that. But every time I hear it, all the different things musically that are going on that I have no comprehension of, it just is this beautiful, complete song. All I Need from In Rainbows.
I'm going to put it as well. Karma Police. I mean, I think if there's one song everybody knows in the world, it's probably this one. It's just like so ubiquitous, and I don't know. It has everything really. In terms of a complete song, yeah, Karma Police has to be on your list.
The last one for me on this Desert Island playlist, I'm going with Subterranean Homesick Alien. I just love the way it sounds. When I first bought the CD, I went over to my uncle's house on Salt Spring Island. He had this massive Yamaha system, and he was the first person I went to his house, and you could like turn the stereo on in the whole house. He built the house, wired it for sound. I couldn't wait to listen to OK Computer on his stereo. And when I did, this song was just incredible. Hit the floor. And and I didn't put it on my other list. And I instantly regret it. And I felt bad. Like when I heard this song later, I was like, fuck, I let you down.
That song could very easily be on my list. It's a great song. Up Above Aliens Hover, making home movies for the folks back home. It's a great song. My last song, once again from A Moonshaped Pool, is Deck's Dark. And I feel like I said this earlier with Weird Fishes, this could end up being one of my favorite songs. I think I first really discovered it. It was in an episode of Ozark, actually. I think it was like the first episode where, if you've seen Ozark, Marty gets out and he gets out of the car, says he has to go take a piss, and he goes and he hides behind a tree, and he's just like, what the fuck? And that song comes on with the piano keys and the slow build, and then the operatic chorus comes in. It's got a real like massive attack, teardrops vibe to it. Then into your life comes a darkness. There's a spacecraft blocking out the sky, and there's nowhere to hide. You run back and you cover your ears, but it's the loudest sound you've ever heard. It is a great song. Deck's Dark.
Yeah, man, that show has an awesome soundtrack. I totally forgot that too. There's some shows like that. The Bear recently,
yes,
is another one. Great soundtrack too. I think back on The Wire and those classic ones, they had really good soundtracks actually, if you stop and listen to it. But yeah, absolutely, I forgot that about Ozarks. What a great show that was. And it's over and good. They
closed it out without overextending it.
Perfect.
Last but not least on my list for sure is Nude off of In Rainbows. I think when that came out, the pay what you will feature of that. I think I paid $7, so right between Joe's
$1 and my 20.
So
good. We're keeping that average fairly close. I think we're about $8.50 or something like that. So nicely done.
Wow, you guys are my heroes.
Hey, it was new, right? It's like, oh, is it as much as a CD? I can't pay as much as a CD, which is like $13, right? I listened to this album endlessly when it first came out, going to you, Vic, and I remember just like I would just go for walks and listen to it, and this song just always stood out as I think the best one on this album for me. And it had been around for a long time too, as Big Ideas. I think it had been in their catalog for a long time as well. So they'd been playing it, but so I was always hopeful that it would make an album. And when it did, they did it so well. I think it's just perfect, So
I'm so glad that you've added this because it was on the chopping block until you just said it was. And I really downplayed like how much I love this song. It's probably my favorite song. So now Joe can't touch it. That's amazing. And we can talk about how amazing that song is and how it's probably clearly their best.
Okay, so now it's time to shave this list down to the Desert Island Deathmatch. Here we go, the Desert Island Deathmatch. The way this is going to work is that the youngest is going to throw the first harpoon. We've miraculously come up with a list with doubles on it up to song number 17. So there were 17 songs that were chosen from our options that at least two of us had picked to put onto the Desert Island playlist. Unfortunately, we're all moving to one island. Fucking Kale, you got to promise not to sing that song. And we got to narrow this thing down to 20 songs. So there's only 3 slots left, which means we're going to be throwing a lot of harpoons. We're just throwing harpoons to get rid of other songs that weren't picked twice, essentially. Having a look at the songs so far, there's certainly a lot more on my list.
Can we recap maybe how many from each list are able to be harpooned?
So it's going to go in order from youngest to oldest. So it's going to be Kale, then Jesse, then myself. And we're going to be throwing a harpoon at any song that we don't want to make the final list until we have it shaved down. In this case, there's 3 slots left. So we have to fucking take out every song until we have 3 left. And that will finish up the Desert Island Deathmatch playlist. I don't know. I haven't come up with a good name for it yet.
Just a quick note, there's only 3 options to choose from Kale, 7 from me, and 13 from Joe.
Ones that are available to throw the harpoons are Videotape, Talk Show Host, Lotus Flower from the greatest album of all time, King of Limbs, The Reckoner from In Rainbows, Weird Fishes, or Peggy, which we're all kind of surprised that one might be a nominee to make it through. All I Need from In Rainbows and Dex Dark. Those are all from Jesse's. Those are all his original picks that nobody else liked. And then Kale, he's got on his Desert Island, he's got Creep, You and Who's Army, and No Surprises. Can't wait to take those ones out. And then Jesse, on my list, the ones that are the original picks, like, somebody that's got like their own taste and shit.
Do we have time to list all the ones still remaining from you, or no? We need to get going here, I think.
It's okay, heavy. It's okay, computer heavy. We got Nice Dream, Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box. How Can You Be Sure? B-side, Body Snatchers. So Body Snatchers on there. My Iron Lung, 15 Step, Airbag, Go to Sleep, Little by Little, The Bends, the song The Bends, Electioneering, Lucky, and Homesick, Subterranean, Homesick,
Subterranean, Homesick Alien.
Subterranean.
Okay, first harpoon is going to be How Can You Be Sure? Off Joe's list.
Second harpoon is Electioneering, also Joe's list.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Okay, first one I'm gonna get rid of is Creep from Kale's list. Sorry, I can't. There's no fucking way that's happening. They used to play it on the bus, and it's just from Overplay.
It's just tough, but I'm gonna have to go with 15 Step. I hate to do it, but I'm just gonna throw that one. I love the song, but it just wouldn't make it. So
The next harpoon of yours is going to be the Bends.
Oh, sorry. For my list so far, 15 Step, The Bends, and Electioneering.
and how can you be sure?
And how can you be sure? Right.
And how can you be sure? Sorry. Next harpoon, it's easy. It's Lotus Flower. Fuck that song and fuck that stupid album.
Again, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Lucky off OK Computer, even though I love the song.
Jesse, from my list, you can still go with Alien, Little by Little, Go to Sleep, Airbag, My Iron Lung, Body Snatchers, Nice Dream, Packed in.
See, it's getting hard for me now because I like. It's probably Nice Dream. It's just because it's not one I've listened to a lot, unfortunately.
I'm gonna go with Get Rid of Dex Dark.
Oh.
For my next one off, Reckoner. Even though I do love that song, it was one I came to later on that album, to be honest. Even though I love it, it is one, I think there were so many others that I liked. And then that one kind of got popular as a single, and that's when I came back to it. But yeah, so Reckoner.
I'm having a hard time with Joe's remaining ones. And then there's one of your songs that I really like that's remaining. So I have to, by process of elimination, go with You and Whose Army.
I'm going with Talk Show Host, B-side. I'm gone. Harpooned. Done.
I'm going to go with My Iron Lung. Even though this is a classic Radiohead song.
What do you have remaining for yours?
I've got Homesick Alien, Little by Little, Go to Sleep, Airbag, Body Snatchers, and Packed Sardines.
Little by Little.
Little by Little, there it is. there it goes. There it goes. There will be no King of Limbs on this fucking desert island. Or Pablo Honey.
Yeah.
Because nobody picked you either, right? There was, yeah.
No.
I thought you might make the list out of the other Pablo Honey ones, but okay. So I'm picking basically between No Surprises, All I Need, Weird Fishes,
Videotape.
and Videotape. I'm gonna.
That's all in Rainbows.
Yeah, that is funny. I'll take out Videotape first. Harpoon to Videotape.
Next one off of Joe's list, Body Snatchers. I'm going to take off, even though that's a great song. I think, I would just take it off. So.
I'm going to have to take Joe. Sorry, Pack Like Sardines.
Oh.
I wanted that one.
I thought it was sticking around. Just because it's a fucking hard one to say out loud. Pack Like Sardines in a crushed tin box.
I think it's because they spelled crushed wrong.
It's so pretentious.
And packed.
And packed, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, what's your favorite song? Oh, my favorite song is Packed Like Sardines in a crushed tin box. How about you? Said by
like Simple
ever.
Plan.
Yeah. Oh, Simple Plan, you say.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 left to kill. Kale's got 1. Jesse's got 1, 2. Jesse's got 2.
What are your 3, Joe, that are still there?
Yeah, my 3 are Homesick Alien, Go to Sleep, and Airbag. Go to Sleep off Hail to the Thief. I am going to pick All I Need. All I Need off And Rainbows is gone, son.
So how many is in total then? That's 5, so we need 2 more kills.
2 more kills, yeah. So I guess that's my last harpoon.
So I'm going to take off my list, even though I hate to do it. Homesick, Subterranean Alien.
That's the one I wanted from Joe's.
Because I want to keep Airbag on there.
Okay, you're trying to plant the seed. Because that's tough for me because, hold on a second, because now it comes down to Go to Sleep, Airbag, and No Surprises, right? Fuck.
Unless you want to get rid of your own.
I'm not getting rid of Weird Fishes. No, Weird Fishes is automatic.
Yeah, I'm glad that one made it through.
To be honest with you, No Surprises is automatic too. No Surprises for me is like one where I almost kind of regret not having on my list. I love No Surprises. I was very light on OK Computer, and I kind of regret that a little bit. So it's really between Airbag and Go to Sleep. I'm killing with the final kill. I'm sorry, Kale. I'm killing Airbag. I'm keeping Go to Sleep. I like Go to Sleep. I was hoping Subterranean Homesick Alien was going to be the one that snuck in, but I'm happy with Go to Sleep sneaking in. So Go to Sleep, No Surprises, Weird Fishes, make the list.
Fucking right. Okay, well, thank you so much, Jesse. Thank you so much, Kale. We went way over fucking time. When this thing is edited down, you're not going to believe. This has been fun. The Desert Island Deathmatch has been fun. Gives lots to think about. There's going to be some more coming up soon with some other bands. Pink Floyd is already in the works. So I'm sorry I'm a little low on facts and high on opinions. Respect to Radiohead, one of the greatest bands ever. What do you guys say about Radiohead?
Definitely one of the best. One of my top 3 favorites of all time. What do I know? I don't know anything though, but they're great.
There's one thing people know about me. It's that Radiohead is my favorite band. Always has been, always will be. So
I look forward to the Beatles one, Joe.
Yeah, Beatles is going to be tricky. I definitely want to do John.
Top 128.
I definitely want to do John Prine with Kale because I know he's a big John Prine fan. Okay, anyways, thank you so much, guys.
Really fun. It's also, personally too, just so fucking awesome to like dedicate yourself again to a band and rediscover new shit and everything too. So thanks for this process. It's really fun.